Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Gun Culture Radio. This time, instead of having Zeke talk at you guys and make you aware of the sponsor, I figured I would just do it myself. The sponsor for this podcast is SDI, Sonoran Desert Institute. You can check them out at sdi.edu. It's a really cool opportunity if you're interested in being a gunsmith. They have some other firearms technology degrees. Just check out their website. They do take GI Bill. So any veterans out there, it's a cool opportunity. You know, you can't hate a job, in the gun industry. I assume a lot of people listening to this show are gun nuts just like me. It's cool to be able to have a job doing something that you love. Turning a hobby into a job is the true American dream. It's not 2 cars in every garage and a white picket fence. It's having a job that you love. That's the American dream right there. And that should be everyone's dream. That should be the human dream, not just the American dream. Anyways, check that out, sdi.edu. Really appreciate them for the sponsorship. This show is not cheap to make. So anyways, appreciate that, and hope you guys enjoy the show. All right, we're back on the radio again. All right. I feel like that's always my intro. Like people couldn't tell.
One more time. Here we go now. Come on.
All right, so I was able to find a really awesome clip that goes way back in the early days of we've told that story before about back when we used to work security together. Mm-hmm. Just a quick run through of what happened. We were working security together in a certain apartment complex in a certain place that was not known for having a great reputation.
Exactly, not the upper crust part of the area that we're in.
Exactly. I mean, we were hired there for a reason.
That's right. That's right.
So we were just walking around like we usually do, and then we saw Metro, generic, Metro Police Department, and from Arizona, Nebraska, and
that's right. That's somewhere in there. Yeah.
So we saw them, and usually, we would like try to help them or whatever they needed and stuff without trying to get in their way too much, like some people might tend to do, and they seemed like they wanted us to come with them, so we did. They were serving a warrant. Yeah. All right, and then so they went up to the 3rd story of one of these buildings looking for this guy, and we're standing up there. They knock on the door, and let's just screw it. We'll just play the clip. Let's see, where's it at? Okay, so at this point, we are standing outside of a door on a 3rd story balcony or third level, and I am across from the door. One of the Metro cops is right at the door, and he knocked, and then there was another one on that same wall. So I'm facing the door, and you are to my right. Yes. And you're like, there's like a little balcony there and a stairwell, and you're like close to that sort of, but you can't really like see around it yet. Okay. And then you're about to hear. So what you're about to hear is I think the cop is about to knock on the door. All right, let's play it. Yeah, she came to the door naked.
I see that in every movie.
Yeah.
Where's he at? You don't talk about Cuban. I understand. Please do some photos. Take that.
Oh yeah, I think you said the wrong name or something. That was Derek's sign right there.
The tension mounts.
Yeah. So we're just kind of hanging out.
Probably climbing out the window as we speak.
Yeah.
All the time we're waiting outside, she'd be getting a machine gun.
Right.
For all we know.
Exactly, yeah.
Nice dog in the background.
Yeah. That's the scene. Yeah, okay. All right, I'm going to pause it a second. All right, what just happened there was you look, you thought you saw something on the balcony.
I thought I heard something. I thought. I looked over the balcony. We're up there. It's 3 stories up. I thought, there is no, man, I hate to have to make this jump.
So then we just started laughing about that.
Who would make this jump? Who would jump?
Yeah, we never thought like that would be a possibility.
No idea, right, Mike?
Yeah, exactly. So you can hear us just like laughing about this. Okay, I'll start it again. And there's 4 of us.
That's what I just said, yeah.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to back it up. You can faintly hear, I think, what he says, because that's the funniest part, I think. Okay, back it up a little bit. Start it over. Let's see if you can make out whatever he says. After you say, what are you doing? All right. Okay. Did you hear it?
I do that. He's hanging from the outside of a window of the 3rd floor. I'm doing nothing, dude.
Hey, his hands are up though.
That's all right. I can see his hands.
Yeah, so you're like, hey, what are you doing? He's hanging
from the window, outside of a window from the 3rd story.
Like the balcony, right?
Yeah. No. From the outside, he climbed outside the window of the apartment.
I thought he was hanging like from the rail or something.
Well, however those windows are.
Yeah, okay.
He was hanging from the outside of the window of the 3rd floor apartment.
Yeah.
And that's when I looked around and saw him and yelled, hey, what are you doing? He goes, nothing. Dude, you were hanging from the outside of a building. Yeah. But I'm not, you're right. He wasn't doing nothing. You're right.
He's just hanging around.
He's hanging around.
But that was the guy that Metro was looking for.
Exactly. That was him.
And I was still in kind of the breezeway. I couldn't see this. I just saw you yelling at the guy. And I'm just kind of standing there in amazement, like, what is happening? And then,
that's right. You and the 2 Metro guys hadn't seen the thing. They just saw me yelling.
Like for a second, we thought maybe you had lost it.
Yelling at because you're thinking the same thing I am. There is no way we're 3 stories up. There is no way there's nobody out there. Yeah.
Especially once we just joked about that.
That's right.
Like I was almost a little suspicious you might have been messing with us.
That's right.
Okay, so all right, so right after that, then the foot chase starts, and we start running. You can hear
down the steps. Yeah,
you're about to hear us coming down the steps, and as he falls, he's like grabbing onto stuff, like there's a satellite dish and like a gutter.
Yeah. He pulled the gutter down with him as he went hurtling through the air.
Yeah, and I guess to break his fall, and which I guess somewhat worked.
The ground did a good job of stopping his fall,
and there was grass there.
Fortunately for him. Yeah. Fortunately,
but you can hear in the recording that we're about to play. You can hear stuff falling, and then we're like going down the staircase. Okay. And you said freeze, and he didn't. Okay, and now the recorder's on me, and that's me running and breathing heavy. Okay, one of the cops beat me to the stairs.
Yeah.
So I was behind one of the Metro cops, and then were you behind me, or were you behind the other cop? Or
no,
were you
I was on the ground by this
first?
time. I was first one down the steps.
Okay, you were first.
And we're going across the parking lot, and I'm wearing too much gear. And I'm trying to shift into overdrive.
Yeah.
And that's when I pulled that hamstring. Now I'm on my back in the middle of the parking lot as Big John and this Metro police are fly past me. Yeah. And another one, the other officer jumped in his vehicle to take off after him and almost ran me over. But.
Yeah, because I remember I outran so you came down first.
Yeah.
And then it was me. So it was a cop, the Metro guy, and then me behind him, the other Metro guy, and that guy came down the stairs, and then as soon as he cleared the stairs, I took off and kind of swung wide, and I outran him. Actually, I was running past him.
My last image of y'all as I passed into the as I fell back on my back was you guys disappearing into the night, chasing this guy.
Yeah,
I'm pulling myself to the side of the road.
And of course we're running down a hill.
Yeah,
that helped a little.
Oh yeah.
And and then the other cop, he got in his car
and came around to join the pursuit. Yeah.
Right, and so what you're hearing now is us running, basically. Okay. You can hear those long strides.
More heavy breathing too. Apparently you're in good shape back then.
Yeah, I'm breathing.
Finally took a breath. Okay.
Okay, I'll stop there.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Get some. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I won't play it any further.
It's not family friendly beyond that. Yeah.
Okay, so basically what happened is, obviously you couldn't really tell from that audio too well, but basically what happened was, I was gaining on him. Mm-hmm. And he saw that I was going to catch him. Yeah. We got to the bottom of the hill, and there was another little patch of grass there, and he just laid down in the grass. Mm-hmm. At that time, I don't know if you could hear, but the Metro car, the tire screeched, and he came up. Mm-hmm. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let them handle this. Yeah. And I just kind of stood back and just watched. So all that ruckus at the end, like that, I was not in on any of that. I was just an observer.
Yeah, but he was sagging too. So that meant that apparently the gangster fitness program ain't what it should be.
No, it's not.
So, dude, you got to pull your pants up. I'm telling you, it helps. It helps you with your evading the law.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Yeah, it should have some track shoes or something.
Yeah, it's proper stretching. I'll testify to that. Proper stretching before you go on a foot pursuit.
Yeah.
But I got to say it one more time. As I'm laying there prostrate in the street, a resident of the project did come up and assist me and help me to the side. So there are good people everywhere.
Yeah, well, that was
Let's make sure we say that. That's very nice.
Yeah.
I've had this image of people with torches coming to finish me off, but no, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, that was fun, man. That was.
Them the days, bro. Them the days. Come on, dude.
Yeah, it wasn't really anything like real spectacular to think about. It wasn't a shootout or anything crazy.
Unfortunately.
Like that.
Unfortunately.
That would have been a little more interesting.
Oh yeah, my God. Yeah.
But no, I mean it's the kind of stuff the cops deal with all the time. But it was that is the part of the draw. To law enforcement, and wherein lies, of course, some of the problems. But as men, we like action. We like to do things that are exciting and fun. Those kinds of things are fun.
Unfortunately, that was a rarity. Unfortunately, it's not what people think. It's not. People forget that when they shoot cops, they're out there for like a month or two in advance before the show airs, and then there's a lot of just driving around waiting for something to happen. Then what you see is the finished product.
Right.
And unfortunately, we see that, we think, oh man, every day it's just like that. No, it's not.
Yeah, not at all.
Not at all. So they got multiple crews out there and multiple vehicles over an extended period of time to get that 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So
I mean, in the like 6 months or so that I worked out there in that spot, I could all the times that were like that, I could count them on my hands. I mean, it wasn't that.
Again.
But when it does happen, it's fun.
Oh yeah. Oh, it makes it worth it when it does. It makes it worth it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it does. I can't remember what that guy's warrants were for, but
who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But and it's tough. It's a tough issue, like because it's fun to be on the end of being the guy that's chasing down the bad guy.
The hand of justice.
Yeah, well, to deny that is just I mean, it's ridiculous. Like you can't deny that. Like it's fun to do that. To be
that
a part
adrenaline
of that.
rush. That adrenaline rush. That you're out there doing it. You're not talking about it. You're not reading about it. You're not watching it in a movie. You're out there doing it. Heck yeah, I'm keeping it family friendly.
Yeah, and use that to make this point. I think that's important is that we can't that's something that's going to happen. If you're involved in that job, where that's your job, chasing down bad guys, it doesn't matter if you're chasing that guy for attempted murder or if you're chasing that guy for like simple drug possession, it still feels the same to you.
Yeah.
You know, now not exactly, not like exactly the same. I mean, if you know this guy's like really violent, like you know, you're going to take extra precautions, of course, but you're still going to attack it with that same amount of energy and adrenaline and all this kind of stuff.
And that's just it. You don't know.
Right.
And when you're going after this individual, you don't know.
Well, exactly. That's the thing. You have to treat everyone the same.
Exactly, because you don't know.
Yeah, because you don't know. So I don't think that all this drama lately with police, with law enforcement, I said it before, I'll say it again. I do not think necessarily the problem, there are some bad cops, but the big problem isn't necessarily cops, because anyone put in that situation is going to behave similarly to how cops behave. Yes. The problem is there's too many petty laws, possession crimes. That's my problem, you know. Or if you really want to punish people for these kinds of like possession crimes, different things, if the society decides that's a good idea, let's at least like make it fines and stuff, you know, or something different. You know what I mean? Because running people down and, you know, and jamming people up and all this kind of stuff over things that aren't like completely directly related to like people getting hurt. Yeah,
nonviolent crimes
or thefts. I mean, like, you know, crimes against people or property. Like those are the things that matter.
Yes. Well, I think what the laws are going toward now is, again, less punishment for nonviolent offenses, nonviolent drug offenses. Legalization's coming. I mean, I have to say that. It's coming. Because, you know, I mean, if you got under a certain amount, and especially if you're not trying to traffic or repackage for sale, you know what? Here's your fine. Have a nice day. Yeah. You know, hey, I mean.
Exactly. That's how it should be handled.
You know, if you make it obvious that you're dealing, you got a problem. Yeah. But if you're not dealing and it's under a certain amount, then you should be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's the big problem there. I think right there is just it's the laws and the legal system, you know, because there's a lot of people right now all over social media just giving cops a really hard time, but they've never done anything like that before.
Exactly. And the police the former Chief Gates of LAPD, he said this: police deal with the people so you don't have to. Yeah. You can say what you want, but whenever something happens, whenever you're accosted, whenever you face that violent criminal, who are you going to call? It ain't the Ghostbusters, it's the police. And when they pull up, it's like the second coming. Yeah. So, I mean, we shouldn't be hypocritical. We shouldn't. We can't.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I'm a pro cop guy. I'm anti-possession crimes. That's my thing, you know. And yeah, I mean, it's gonna be police have a rough road ahead of them with all this stuff, and hopefully, now it's good that even though all these bad things have happened, you know, as far as let's see, I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say. It's been hard for police lately, but hopefully, because so much light has been shed on this issue, it is a real problem.
Yes, it is.
You know, this thing that's happening with people being victimized, you know, unfairly in different situations.
Exactly. Yes.
Like great example, that guy that was choked out that was selling loose cigarettes. You know, it's a great example. Like that shouldn't have happened. He shouldn't have been in that situation.
There are all kinds of options out there. Also, that Texas thing with the female, the teenage party in the minority neighborhood. Okay, we have to take into account, and the law takes into account the full content of what happened. Yeah. Because with all these videos, we're only seeing part of it.
Exactly, it's out of context.
Exactly, sometimes. People don't understand it. People get emotional. And emotion is the enemy of justice. Yeah. You can't get emotional. Let's take into account the entirety of what happened, and then we'll see if what they did was wrong or right. And as an officer, security, or police, again, less lethal, the least violent, the least whatever method that you have of securing the situation is what you need to go with. Talk, again, you got to be careful. Be alert, and always be aware that there's always somebody watching. Yeah. Always.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you hope that all cops behave like they're being filmed all the time. Yeah. You know.
And keep your head. Do the right thing the right way, you're good to go.
Yeah.
good to go.
Yeah, but I think that we need to be encouraging, when we need to be encouraging police to do the right thing and stuff.
Which they I think they always do or try to.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh, I mean,
except for like just a few very rare exceptions.
You're always going to have that. You're always going to have that. Germany, example, Germany, all police go to the same police academy, graduate to the same standard. It ain't that way here. We got police academies on every other corner here.
Yeah.
But what we need to emphasize in all these different police jurisdictions is that doing the right thing the right way, which I don't know how you can be an officer and not know that.
Yeah, exactly.
How can you not know that?
Yeah.
We need the police because if we didn't have the police, it would be the purge every night.
Yeah.
And we don't want that.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. And, some of these like borderline anarchists, really hardcore libertarians, well, the citizens, we can take care of ourselves.
No.
Well, here's the thing. Theoretically, yes. But do you want to have to do that? I mean, do you like going on vacation? Do you like sleeping?
But also might have to be up on guard every night.
Yeah,
that sounds good. What's that? It was a paradox. I heard it on the Simpsons of all places.
Yeah.
He said it's a paradox that in order to have freedom, you have to have laws.
Yeah.
As a paradox, but it's very true.
It is. Yeah.
In order for us to be free and for people to live in safety and security, we have to have laws to enforce that. Because all people aren't going to do the right thing.
No, they're just not.
And we have to understand that and accept it. So.
Yeah, it's kind of a balancing act.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, but still, regardless of all that stuff, those were still pretty fun times.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great running around busting bad guys. Oh, them were the days, bro.
Yeah.
Not that I'm, sounding, lusting for excitement, which I am. But when it does happen, which is a rarity.
Yeah.
But when it does go down, it's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
It does. And in a way, we got kind of the best of both worlds out there because, since it was private property, most of our job was just kind of kicking people out and getting people out of there.
Exactly.
And stuff.
Which is part of the job. Hey, man, you got the option to leave. And if you don't, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, exactly. So, or help, or just helping Metro and stuff like that. So we were never put in situations where we had to make like real big decisions like real cops do.
True. And people tend to have I guess I don't want to say more lenient attitude towards security guys, but I guess more favorable because they know security's there for you, for them.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Security's there. The police are there to protect the city, the community as a whole. Security guys, you're there for this building, these people, this section. So people tend to have maybe a more favorable outlook on security.
Right.
Because you're not the police. You're not.
Right. Plus, they know you can't take them to jail.
No. Oh, yes, you can, but you're not going to.
Yeah, exactly.
Most jurisdictions, a commissioned officer has to transport a person to jail, but in this certain state, some states, there's nothing to say that you can't do a citizen's arrest and then transport this guy down to the jail. Now, are they going to prosecute that?
Yeah,
probably not.
Yeah,
because who are you?
Yeah, exactly.
Walking with this guy in handcuffs. Who are you? Some guy showed up with some other dude in handcuffs. Gave me a story. Who are you, man?
That is like the most ridiculous thing you can do. Like in security, like it makes sense, but just be like you're just at the Waffle House.
I saw this guy spitting on the sidewalk.
Yeah,
I had to take action.
That would almost be a funny prank video. It's like get your buddy in on it or something, and like plan it out. He's do something really mundane, and then like arrest him or whatever.
Dog off of a leash or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, sir.
Call the police and they come and just completely set up the place.
But now, again, we all have the right for citizen's arrest. If you witnessed a felony or any other crime, you have the right under the U.S. Constitution to execute a citizen's arrest.
Yeah.
Now, that guy at the shop at the White House a couple of years back.
Yeah.
He pulled an AK out, started shooting at the White House, and then just threw it down, started running away.
Which is hard to imagine how anyone was even able to do that. Pull out an AK near the White House. I always figured they had like snipers that just like you just reach in your coat too fast and they're dead.
No, this is back when you could drive past the White House.
Oh, okay.
This is before they blocked it off because of situations like this.
Yeah.
This guy started blasting the White House and then threw his gun down and started running. And two regular guys just grabbed him, tackled him, and in fact, one guy was from Texas with a cowboy hat, boots, the whole 9 yards. Tackled this guy, held him down until DC police got there.
Huh.
So dude. Citizens arrest.
And it's the citizen's arrest thing it's like one of those laws where it is good that it exists because there are certain situations like that, or like someone breaks into your house.
Yes.
And I mean, I've always heard that you shouldn't ever try to detain somebody if they're in a situation like that. But there could be a situation where maybe, I don't know, you're afraid that they're going to get away because they, you know, that they're going to do some other violence to someone else.
Exactly. Or they're threatening you or someone else. Or they're still armed. You don't know.
Or like if, let's say, someone's trying to break in your house and then you like get them at gunpoint and they're just like, you know what, screw this, I'm gonna get out here, I'm gonna go to, and it's like a personal thing, and they're like, I'm gonna go over to your friend Jim Bob's house, I'm gonna kill him.
If they state that,
or something.
I read this in school. We read this case on this guy in Texas. He witnessed someone robbing his neighbor's house. And these two individuals were breaking into the guy's house across the street. The guy saw him, called 911. Hey, get somebody over here right now. They're robbing so-and-so's house. I need somebody over here right now. And then the police said, okay, they're en route. They're coming. He says, and then the caller witnessed these people coming out with the neighbor's stuff, leaving. And then he says, the caller's like, oh no, they're getting away. I'm gonna stop them. The 911 dispatcher's like, hey sir, don't go out there. Don't go out there. He says, oh heck no, I'm going out there. They ain't gonna rob my friend's house. He went out there, confronted them. They got violent. He put them down.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people were saying, well, no, he shouldn't have done anything. Hey, he went out there. He witnessed them committing a crime. He confronted them at gunpoint, stopped them. They got violent with him. He put them down. The guy was exonerated.
Yeah.
Is it something advisable? No.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't ever advise it. But the thing is, though,
he witnessed the crime. It was an unlawful act. He confronted them lawfully.
Yeah.
And then they tried to get violent with him, which was a threat to him.
Right.
His acts were illegal. I mean, it's something that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
But it worked out this time.
It's kind of like, in a way, it's like the Trayvon Martin thing. He shouldn't have been messing with him. He shouldn't have.
No, he shouldn't have approached him.
If he was worried about the guy, he should have called the cops, let them deal
Which he did.
It.
And they were less than 2 minutes away. But he got confronted them anyway. Should have done that.
Yeah, that's right. I forget. Yeah, I forget the timeline mix up.
Oh my God.
But he should have. Yeah, he did call the cops, but he should have actually let them. Yeah.
Dispatch even advised him, sir, don't get out of your car. Do not go over there. So, but again, what happened was Trayvon confronted him.
Then it got to
a physical and then the guy, if you want to call it I'm not going to say the word, a something move, a B move.
Yeah.
After he's getting his butt kicked, he blasted him.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I watched a lot of that trial, and it seemed like there was enough evidence that pointed to his story to where like he was banging his head against the pavement.
Yes.
And he was right on top of him. I mean,
Trayvon was kicking off in his butt.
And all the pictures they show of Trayvon are when he's like 13 years old. So I mean,
not 17 when like he really was. Yeah,
exactly. So I mean, there's some big 17-year-old kids out there.
If George just had said, "Hey, the guy was kicking my butt," I pulled my gat, I blasted him. People would have went, okay. But this stuff about I confronted this felon, this possible felon, stopped him from no BS.
Yeah.
And even the most emotional people out there, I've said this to some of the very emotional people, and they said the same thing. That look, if he just had said, "Man, I confronted him, and this kid was kicking my butt. I was getting my butt whipped, my kicked.
Yeah.
Man, I was scared he's gonna kill me, and I blasted him."
That's true. He might have had a little more public favor.
A little bit more sympathy. Okay, you screwed up. And he was getting your butt kicked, and you got scared.
Yeah.
Okay.
He went kind of Ranger Rick on the whole thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So it's all how you portray it.
Yeah. Exactly. And then of course a bunch of weird stuff happened with him after that.
Which on a recent trip to that area, somebody was looking for. It would have been bad. You would have to do a special if we had to come across George Zimmerman. It would have been bad.
Yeah. I'll get him on the show.
Dude, do it. Go for it, George. So, George, what you been doing the past couple of years?
Yeah, really. Jeez. No, I don't think I want that kind of controversy.
Oh, my God. I'm wondering how George is making his money now. Yeah. I don't know, George. I mean,
writing books.
Oh, yeah. Come on. Making appearances. I would clean up.
Maybe he could get into stand-up comedy.
Why not? I'm George Zimmerman, but you might remember me.
Yeah. Hey, Bill Cosby is still touring.
Why not? Why not?
But you know, that's crazy to me. Bill Cosby, with all that happened, he's still touring. People are still going to his shows.
Bill's thinking, hey, man, it was 40 years. You know how many women I drugged? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. I don't remember you. Come on. There were so many. Come on. Come on.
I wonder, like, if he acknowledges it at his shows.
I think something. The last thing I saw, I believe it was CNN. He made a statement from years back that he did something to that effect, and so he didn't necessarily admit that I did it to anybody in particular. But yeah, you know, maybe I drugged a few. Come on, who doesn't do that? Come on. I mean, and now it's coming back to bite him in the butt, of course.
Yeah, some people have said that it was like, you know, more accepted or something back then. But
accepted.
That part I don't get. Like, the 70s weren't that long
ago. And I'm like, okay, dude, if you got to drug her to sleep with her, dude.
And that's the thing. It's Bill Cosby. Like, he did
why would you have to do that?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, dude. I mean, you're Bill Cosby, man.
Like one of the biggest names ever.
I mean, I don't think you would have had that much of a problem meeting women. I mean, plus you were married. Thank you very much for 80 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, before this, he was like in Morgan Freeman status. You know, old black guy, didn't comb his hair, didn't shave. Women loved him.
Yeah.
You know, like Sean Connery. Yeah, I'm an old crusty guy. You know, I'm crusty. I bitch all the time, but women all over me. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Not too bad, Bill. Hey.
Yeah. That's sad too, man. He was funny.
Well, whenever you, unfortunately, you get to that status, people are always looking to take you down.
Yeah.
They're always looking for some flaw from 40 years ago. I'd be like, what? Who are you again?
And when all that first came out, I was quick to be like, really? Sure. No.
And then they're like, all these women come out of nowhere. I'm like, so where you been the past 40 years?
Yeah. That's the thing. I was really skeptical of it at first, but then it's like, okay, there's like 20 of them, and
now there's 40 of them.
He's not really denying it, and it's kind of,
well, he's not saying anything, and that's the problem, which is it's a good legal move. I'm not even going to reply to this. You know, you can say what you want.
Which, if he was like stone cold innocent, he probably wouldn't be able to keep from saying something. I would think, right? I mean,
it's not what it's not a few good men. It's not what you say; it's what you can prove.
Yeah,
they can say what they want, but can you prove it?
Yeah, that's what I figure. It's like he knows. Yeah, well, that did happen. But as long as they don't say anything, they can't.
They can't prosecute me. Plus, the statute of limitations, depending on when the last one occurred, is way past. And what kind of evidence do you have what kind of evidence do they have that I did anything besides you saying it?
Yeah.
Where he's getting convicted is the court of public opinion.
Yeah.
Well, he must have did. I know he did. How do you know?
Yeah.
Well, all these women just wouldn't say it for no reason. Well, people say BS all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not taking the side. Yeah. I don't want any protesters on the Big John.
Yeah.
I am completely neutral. I don't know. I don't know. From a legal aspect, strictly a legal aspect. This is my disclaimer.
Yeah.
Legal aspect. There is absolutely no proof that he did anything besides a bunch of people saying it. And legally, people say things all the time.
Yeah.
But does that mean that that this person did it?
Yeah.
Cut.
So. Yeah. Well, his legacy is definitely ruined now.
I know, man. I know Cosby. I mean, I don't think he was necessarily that funny.
I mean, I don't know. In a white bread sort of way, you know.
Back years ago, but not now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, okay, come on, Bill. I mean, come on.
Like that. I mean, like that special that he did, like the classic one that he did, where he's got the joke about the chocolate cake for breakfast or whatever.
More of a storyteller. It's a watered down. He's not Chris Rock.
No,
he's not Bill Maher. You know, which I'm like, come on. But I don't think he's that funny today. In the past, yes.
No.
But today it's like, he's like a Johnny Carson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Back, 40 years ago. Yeah, Bill. Yeah.
But
it's 2015 now.
Yeah, he hasn't been relevant really for a long time.
Exactly.
He actually did a special like a couple of years ago. There was, I don't know, something like, I forgot what the title was, but it was something like, I still got it.
It's something that older people will go see. like Liberace. It's like people that were around when he was hot.
Yeah, exactly.
will go to see him. That's why all these older stars go to Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just do Vegas, and then we know who goes to see shows in Vegas. Older people. So
yeah, it's like those those movies that are like very clearly geared towards like older people, like 60s to 70s, where it'll be like some actor that was huge like back in the 70s, but hasn't done movies in forever. And
somebody like example, Pam Grier. For those of you who know who she is, back in the 70s she was it.
Yeah,
but she made a comeback with what's that thing? Quentin Tarantino. Jackie Brown.
Yeah, I watched that recently,
dude.
I had seen it before. But
it's been 10 years, ain't it? Man,
I think it was 97.
97. Okay, well, 8, 9 years?
Almost 20 years.
20 years. Oh, 97. You said 07. I thought you said 07.
No, 97.
Oh, 20 years. Man, how old am I? Where's my walker? Get me out of here. But nice. She made a little comeback then, but she was 44 then. So
she still looked pretty good.
She was looking good, by God. So yeah. Again, for us old folks, which I guess I'm finally one of them.
Getting there.
I'm getting there. I got there. Past tense. Got there. Got there. No, she's people like that are hot, and we'll watch them because we remember them from the old days.
Yeah.
So come on, we'll go see them. Like Bill Cosby, Pam Grier.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I'm sure whenever I'm in my 60s and 70s, there'll be like movies of people like that I grew up with.
The Big John Show, 2055. Well, boy, let's talk about the Phaser 2. Now, it ain't as good as the Phaser 1. Now, it only had a range of 45 yards, but once you set it to stun, it was good.
Or there'll be like a Billy Madison 2 with like a 70-year-old Adam Sandler.
That's right. We'll be doing the same show in 2060.
Yeah.
I remember we had cartridges. You had to put them in there and load them. It was before the electric. It was for the the Phaser in the 40
electric
watt
pulse gun
in the 40-watt range. Yeah. Before all that. Yeah. We actually had to see the target to hit it.
Yeah. Archaic times.
All this. All these weapons we have now be like muzzle loaders.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got your box of flints?
Which I heard that even when the cap locks came out, a lot of people still preferred the flintlock because you could pick them up on the trail.
It's what you're used to. What you're used to.
Not the rifle you couldn't necessarily pick up on the trail, but maybe you could. But the flints. Which that makes sense. I mean, you run out of caps, you're done. I mean, you don't have there's nothing you can do. Really.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you're used to. It's what you're used to. I mean, you're right. Civil War, you probably had some guy there with a flintlock.
Yeah. I'll tell you though, I mean, I get people wanting to stick with the flintlock maybe around that time period, but I mean, come on, you got to get on the rifling train.
Come on now, I got a smooth bore flintlock versus a rifled 67 caliber Springfield rifled musket, dude. Come on. Come on. We got to. It was a big back then. It was a big technological leap. Come on.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. I mean, there's always those old fogies. Whenever something new comes out, like, you don't need that. It's hard to imagine it being like that about rifling.
No, you'd be surprised. The U.S. government had the opportunity. Henry Rifle had the opportunity to equip the Union Army with Henry repeating rifles, Sharps and Henry rifles. But the old timers at the Ordnance Department said, no. Multiple firing weapons, that's a waste of ammunition. They felt like if you give soldiers a weapon that fired multiple shots at once, they would be as careful to take good aim.
Yeah.
Oh well, good thinking. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like if you just took a bunch of soldiers that had already been trained with the other rifle and just had a bunch of cases of Henry, were like, here you go, and didn't tell them anything about it, then yeah probably. But if you trained them,
training, which again, it's the 19th century. Good soldiers didn't think. You shut up, you got line, and you went for it.
Yeah.
Okay, what's that? They're firing 58 caliber rifles at me. No problem. I'll walk across the open field.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Out of here.
I would think the expense of the Henry though had to be a lot of it.
Yes.
Because I mean, it's hard to imagine really even them being able to, regardless of the expense, just even being able to equip that many soldiers with those things.
Individual units like Indiana, Illinois, they sit their boys to war with the best stuff. Which, heck yeah, thank you very much. Again, I told you about that account I read about that guy who was with Sherman's army going through Georgia. They had Henry rifles, Sharps rifles.
They were kind of like a special forces almost of the Civil War.
They were Indiana. I think they were Indiana unit equipped with the repeating rifles, and they were outside Macon, Georgia, and the Rebs came charging at them, and the Union soldiers said these guys are committing suicide.
Yeah.
I mean, dude.
Huge difference.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Like there has never been as big of a tactical difference, maybe ever, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even back in the days when muskets first came around, they were so like rough, and I don't even know if there was like a huge advantage between like edge weapons and the muskets. I guess there probably was, but not. I don't think it was as big, even though, as like the advantage of like Henry's versus like repeating rifles versus
muzzle loaders.
Yeah.
Example of how of such a difference. The difference that you were talking about is that the English longbow was as effective as muzzle loading weapons up until the Civil War.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I always thought, we talked about this, I think, in another show, but it always made sense to me, or it didn't make sense that they didn't use bows in the Civil War. I mean, they would have torn them up.
Well, it took more training. I mean, to be effective with a longbow, the reading I did, a English longbow could go through a man at 300 yards.
Yeah.
It had a maximum range like 450, and could go through a man anything less than 300, it'll go through you. So it was just as effective as a musket back then. So, but it took a lot of training. You had to train to get that good at it. So.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But man, you could have such a higher rate of fire.
Oh my! Exactly. I mean, oh my God.
Yeah.
So when they came out with multiple fire weapons, lever action.
Yeah,
dude.
Or think just think about this. What if they had just a team of archers like they used to do in the old days in the back? They still had the guys with rifles up front, so they're like marching, and they're meeting in the field, and they're exchanging shots, and then all of a sudden, all these arrows just raining in.
Gettysburg, throw me on that arrow. Hit that with a little round top with a long ball. Hey, who's that guy?
Yeah.
Somebody shoot him. You'd be good until they saw you, until they found out where you were.
But there's a bunch of them, though. I mean, that would have been horrific. You're taking, bullets and arrows are coming.
That's right.
That'd have been horrible.
That's right.
Jeez.
Biggest charge. All right, boys. String your bows.
It did seem like, I don't know. I mean, I'm just basing this off of movies, I guess. But it really did seem like there was a real lack of strategic creativity in Civil War.
Exactly. It was modern weapons with Napoleonic tactics, and that's one of the reasons they had such a high casualty rate. That which today we think stand up and get shoulder to shoulder and walk across an open field while people are shooting at you.
Yeah.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, really.
But to them, the weapons had outrun the tactics.
Yeah.
Longstreet, a Southern general, he after witnessing all the casualties, he thought, well, you know what? Maybe we should not get up into a big line of guys and walk out in the open and get shot. Maybe we shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we should break them up into small groups. Okay, we'll tell them what we're here to do. That's the objective, and then we'll break them up into squads of 7 or 10, and then we'll let them just make their own way up there.
Yeah.
And then we'll keep these guys back here to fire on the other guys to give them cover. But they said, what's he talking about? Okay,
that's not how it's done.
That's not how it's done. Okay, everybody stand up, shoulder to shoulder, and now let's go forward. I mean, what's with that guy?
Yeah.
Come on. It's what you're used to. A lot of people just couldn't imagine any other way of doing it.
Yeah.
Modern weapons are horrendous, are deadly, are powerful, are ferociously effective.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't realize it or couldn't comprehend it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not one of the ones going out there.
Yeah.
Dude. In fact, from a lot of my reading, after, say, 1863, all that get up and charge stuff kind of stopped because they're like, oh, this is crazy. We got to stop.
Yeah.
We got to stop this. Dude.
Yeah. I mean, the guerrilla tactics make so much more sense, I would think, in that kind of warfare.
This certain person from this certain area, Bedford Forrest, from a certain area, yes, he was known for, he tore up the Yankees in Tennessee. He tore them up. In fact, when Sherman went through the great state of Georgia, one reason he just severed all his lines behind him was because of Nathan Bedford Forrest. Because he says, because if we try to keep supplies going from Chattanooga to Atlanta, Forrest will tear us up.
Yeah.
So we're just going to leave everything, cut everything off behind us, and go into Georgia, and we'll find what we need along the way. And he tore up Georgia, tore them up.
It's crazy. another kind of difference too, like that. We're talking about the Henry and the muskets and stuff, or the cap blocks, because they're technically not muskets, I guess, because they're rifled.
Yeah. Well, rifled musket.
Yeah, rifled musket. In World War II, you have, I guess, I don't know if it's the first time, but one of the first times, where you have a semi-automatic battle rifle. We're up against, the Germans with their bolt action.
The K98.
Yeah, same thing in the Pacific Theater also.
I think the Americans were the only ones that used the semi-automatic rifle, the M1. Great weapon, by God. The Garand, great one. Everybody loved it.
Oh, yeah. But, it's interesting, though. It didn't seem to make as big of a difference as you would think it would, necessarily. I mean, you hear mixed things. Like, some soldiers said that it did, but then some...
you had the rate of fire. You could sometimes it comes down to just rate of fire.
Yeah.
But I think if you got a bolt action, you do have to take your time.
Yeah.
If you only got what 5-7 rounds.
Yeah.
In the clip, and it's bolt action. A bolt action is more accurate, and also the shooter has to take time. I would think I only got this many rounds. I gotta hit what I'm shooting at.
So probably both things kind of countered each other, because you have like the advantage of the Garand is you don't have to disrupt your sight picture between shots. That was one of the big advantages of that. But you burn through ammo faster, and not as likely,
as accurate.
Yeah, to hit, because you just got another one right there ready to go. But then the Germans, they had not as much capacity, slower rate of fire, but because of that, they might have taken more time.
They take more care in their shooting.
Right.
And plus the Germans use smokeless powder too. So he opens up with that K98. You're like, where'd that come from?
Well, they did too. The Americans did too.
They did?
Yeah, because we stopped using smokeless. I think pretty much everybody abandoned smokeless powder around the time, like pretty soon after cartridges, or no, not real soon after, but soon after, whenever they, what are they called? Whenever they started developing like serious rifle rounds.
That probably Spanish-American War, 1898.
Yeah, like late 1800s.
Because the Spanish tore us up in Cuba.
Yeah,
they had the Mauser bolt action, and we were still using the Krag Jurgensen, which was a piece of crap rifle.
Well, I mean, for the time it was actually pretty. I think it was probably a pretty good rifle. The problem with it was, though, it was loading it on the move was the big problem.
Okay.
Because the guy, when they invented it, if you ever mess with one, they're really interesting, because you basically just have this box on the side of it. Right.
Just drop your bullets in there. It'll figure itself out.
Exactly. I think they were considered pretty reliable. They weren't considered to be as durable as the Mauser by far, but they were considered to be pretty reliable, I think. But yeah, there's a box. You just open it and you just put the bullets in there.
Is that all?
And then you close it.
Okay, just throw them in there. It'll be all right. Don't worry about it.
And it worked. It had this like rotating magazine thing.
Okay.
I mean, it worked. Dad's got one, but
Teddy Roosevelt wrote at San Juan Hill that the Spanish were tearing them up with the Mauser. They were
hotter round. I don't know. I guess they used the 7mm, and that was a hotter round, I think, than the 30 Krag.
And the Spanish were in prepared positions, undercover. The Rough Riders and the 9th and 10th Cavalry came up that hill. The Germans, not this time.
Yeah, it comes later.
The Spanish were tearing them up. But the Americans had the Gatling guns out there, which kind of helped save the day. Again, another case of volume of fire versus accuracy.
Yeah.
So they both have their pluses.
Yeah. Which great movie on that is the Rough Riders, that TNT
with
movie.
Tom Berenger. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Ted Turner, was he in that one? I thought no, that was Gettysburg. Sorry, Ted Turner happened. He had to get his cameo.
Oh yeah.
But that was Gettysburg.
Yeah.
But Tom Berenger.
Oh man, he became Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh yeah, great job.
He's a really great actor. I mean, just think about his role. For those of you who have seen both Platoon and the Rough Riders, think about his roles in both of those movies.
Completely different.
Yeah, just night and day.
Yeah.
But he was those guys.
Oh yeah.
Especially in Platoon, like, man, you did not want to like him very much.
But you had to respect him. The guy. This is my war out here.
Yeah. I mean, that was a guy you got the sense that like whenever it was time to leave Vietnam, he'd have just stayed.
Yeah, he's been shot. In the movie, he'd been shot 7 times, and he's one of those guys that you wonder what he did. What would he have done once the war ended?
Yeah.
I've had guys like that in Iraq. This individual, again, I don't know if I spoke about him before. This guy was absolutely stellar in Iraq. Absolutely stellar.
Yeah.
But once he got back here, he just kind of fell apart. He couldn't hack peace.
Yeah.
He couldn't hack peace. Once he was back, it was safe, and everything was okay. He just kind of came apart. Yeah. So I've seen that guy and many more like him. Unfortunately, it is an adjustment. So
it's kind of sad in a way because it's got to be really conflicting for a guy like that to be really, really good at something that you're not really supposed to be good at in a way.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, this is not a life skill. Well, it is.
It is and it isn't. That's what makes
exactly.
it.
And then you come back here and it's like, okay, all right, what do I do now? All right. And he just kind of came apart. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
It'd be like being an outstanding musician and having and like really rising and doing really well, and then all of a sudden everyone decided they didn't like music anymore,
or like your music anymore. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Like, okay. All right. What do I do now?
Yeah.
So yeah, great movie. Sad with the Rough Riders. Oh, excellent movie.
Yeah.
What did he call it? A splendid little war. 6 months. Yeah. Let's go down to Cuba. We'll take it. And, oh, by the way, they opened up Cuba again now. The United States reestablished relations with Cuba.
Oh, really? Did they end the embargo yet?
They've for the first time in 50 years, they've reestablished their relations. They've opened the embassy. Cuba is a gold mine. Gold mine.
Man,
oh my
that's
God.
going to be awesome vacation.
Oh my God, Cuba!
I'll go down
Can't
there.
wait. I'll go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Cuba is a gold. Now Raul's like, hey, you know what? I know what Obama did. He went down there and says, hey, Raul, yo. There's money to be made. What are you doing? You're still driving cars from the 50s. Dude, we got something called a Kia. Let's go.
Yeah. Except keep that part because people are going to like that.
That's right. All right. We use some paint. Come on, dude. We'll make money. You'll make money. Come on.
Yeah.
Dude. So
that could be an amazing vacation spot.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. Which is what it was before.
It can employ everybody down there.
Yeah. Dude, come on.
Yeah.
I don't know what Castro was thinking. Which I do, yes, I do, but it didn't work out. Hey, Fidel, it didn't work out. Now let's come to modern times. Come on, your people need it. You need it. I think Raul Castro's got the idea.
Yeah.
We can still keep control, but we can make it good for everybody. Which is before the communists took over when Batista was running the show. If he just spread the stuff around, spread the wealth around a little bit, everything would have been fine. But he got greedy. And some of the reading I've done, that everybody that knew Batista before they threw him out said greed is what got him.
Yeah.
The guy he couldn't be corrupt enough.
Yeah.
So, but it's good. It's looking good in Cuba. Looking good.
That's what's interesting about how you have like dictatorships and stuff where you have like one guy who's the ultimate power.
Yeah.
It's interesting how you have two opposites that kind of create the same thing, right? You have like the whole socialism thing where they're like spreading the wealth, which over time encourages people to not work very hard and it brings everybody down. Or you have the guy like you're saying, they get too greedy, and all of the money and resources is centralized in like this small group of people and the government, and then everyone is poor because of that. And it's like either way, you're kind of screwed.
Especially the greedy guy. You don't last. If you want to be around for a while, if you just go get your cash and get out, okay, thank you, I'm leaving. I'm going to Miami.
Yeah.
But if you want to last, you want to spread that stuff around, make it good for everybody.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden,
and not just give it to people, but like. Invest in your country.
Exactly.
In a way,
make it good so that everybody's good works. They understand. We know what capitalism is. Make it good for everybody. Good for the whole country. That way, you may be a tyrant, a grinding tyrant, but he takes care of people.
Yeah.
He takes care of people, but Social Security is pretty good. I don't know. He's a tyrant, but hey, we all got flaws.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody's perfect.
He's a tyrannical despot, but dental's pretty good.
Oh man,
you'd be surprised. People would put up with that. They would.
Yeah.
They would. People would put up with that.
Yeah.
He's a grinding tyrant, but the healthcare system's pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got this lumbago in my knee. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I hate to say it, but there is a certain group of people that would rather just have things easy than be free.
They tried that in Russia, in the Soviet Union. They tried that. The problem is that things just kind of grind to a halt.
Yeah.
Why should I, take the initiative when you're just giving it to me?
Yeah, you got to have some motivation.
I'm not going to get them to go to work. Why? I'm getting paid anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Or it doesn't matter how hard I work or if I invent something.
Exactly.
I'm not going to... Like the guy that invented the AK, Klishnikov. He probably did a little better than a lot of people. He was like nationally renowned as a hero.
He's a hero of the Soviet Union, yeah.
But he didn't really have necessarily a lot of money or anything.
People admire him. It's Kalashnikov, and buy him a drink. But other than that,
Yeah, all he needs is like a penny for every AK ever made,
dude,
and he'd be fine. He's dead now, but
he came from the old Soviet Union. It was just part of it. I mean, I'm going to invent this weapon. Here you go.
Yeah,
for the common good, take it.
Yeah,
great weapon. I hate to say it.
It is. It's a good gun.
I never thought I'd utter those words, but it's good enough. You can't do anything to it, and when the apocalypse comes, you need an AK.
Yeah.
Did I just say that? Did I just say that? Sacrilege. The AR guys are like, what the heck? God, my God.
Oh, man.
I ain't said this, but I got to say it. I don't think I said it to you before. I got a Glock comment to make.
Oh, okay.
I think I said it before, but
All
we'll
right,
say it
hold
again.
on. Let me brace myself.
Okay. Everybody get in position. Here it comes. For those of you who are taking the Glock Kool-Aid, who are pro Glock people, which is fine. 1911. All I got to say is, how many Glocks gonna be around 104 years from now? Thank you very much. Thank you.
All of them.
Yeah, right. We'll see. We will see. We will see.
I will say though, I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast, and he had this guy. I think I may have mentioned this before, but they had this guy on a show that's been making the rounds lately because he was a Baltimore cop. And in the show, he was telling a story about how on a traffic stop, it was a stolen car or it was something serious, right? And they got the guy stopped, and he was still kind of new, and he had his adrenaline was going or whatever, and he ran up to the car and was trying to get the guy out of the car, and he wouldn't open the door. So he pulled out his gun, and he had a Glock 22, which is almost every cop carries, and Bang tried to break the window out so he could pull the guy out of the car.
I know where this is going. Go ahead.
Yeah, see if you can guess what happened. The base plate in the magazine broke, and all of the bullets and all the rounds fell out of the magazine.
Need I say more? Need I say more? That was a good gun.
So I'll give you that one.
Okay.
If you want to do that, Glock might not be the way to go.
Yeah, we breaking windows. You might want to get that. Which somebody at a recent meeting of a certain company made the comment that my 1911 was a boat anchor. Yes, but it's again, it'll do the job. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Which does what's that Glock 45 37, right? Glock 37.
Which one?
The 45 caliber Glock.
There's a Glock 21. There's several different ones. There's a Glock 30, the 21.
Oh. I thought that was a 37. I was just
36. It might be what you're thinking of.
Okay.
It's like a thin. 45.
Yeah, it's 11 rounds. Because
not that one.
A lot of people get on the 1911 because it's low capacity. Well, compared to a 40, yes.
Yeah.
But I read up with the Glock. They make the Glock 36, I think.
Well, the full size Glock and the 45. The full size one is the 21, and it holds 13 in the magazine.
Okay. So I was wondering, did the famous Glock make a 45 caliber weapon, and how many rounds did it hold?
Well, and it's not a just enormous difference, because if you got an 8-round magazine in the 1911, you got 9. 8 plus 1. It's not. That's not bad.
Okay.
So it's 5 rounds less, than the Glock. But the one thing, 1911s are heavy. I mean, they do have alloy frame models, which I don't know enough about those to trust them, because I've heard bad things about them. I don't trust alloy frame 1911s. Maybe people who know more about them do, because they know that they're okay. But the thing that 1911s do so well still to this day, and the reason that I think that they're still relevant when it comes to concealed carry, is they're so thin.
Yeah.
Especially
a commander or a compact, something like that.
Yeah.
It does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Close range, and in the words of the person I talked to, if you get hit with a 45 ACP, it's gonna put a hole about that big in you. So does the job. Does the job.
Maybe an exit wound.
That's right. Like I said, exit wound.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, exit wound, not entry wound. No, exit wound about that big. You're right. Let me clarify. I'm slug.
You ever see those movies though where they'll have like a 44 mag and they'll shoot a door, and then it puts like a big gigantic hole like the size of a
of course, yeah,
like a grapefruit or something. It's like
people expect that. They see that and go, wow, no. No.
I mean, even if that door was made out of like balsa wood or something, I mean, it's not really going to do that. I mean,
but TV, it's more impressive in movies. Though.
It's true. Yeah.
More impressive, man.
Exactly.
So,
okay. Before we forget, I wanted to talk about this. And unfortunately, it seems like every time we do one of these shows, there's another shooting to talk about.
Unfortunately, yeah.
But this one, the Chattanooga one,
yeah.
Of course, everyone knows about by now, where the 4 Marines were shot.
And one sailor, yeah.
Yeah, 4 Marines were killed, right? And then
the sailor died later, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Well, something kind of unfortunate. Actually, I have a distant, unfortunate connection to like this thing that happened, sort of, because there's a guy that has he's been a fan for a long time. That's how we got to know him, and he's loaned us guns for lots of years. Great guy, awesome dude. And he has a lot of guns. So we've probably done like 20 videos on his guns. And he had offered us to do a video on a Vepr AK, which Vepr is supposed to be one of the better AKs. Okay. They were the ones that came out of Russia before the sanction ban thing and stuff like that. So good AK. But anyways, we never got around to doing it because we had a bunch of other stuff coming in to get around to it. So long story short, that was the gun that was used in that shooting.
Oh.
And he found out because when the ATF contacted him.
Yeah.
I was gonna give some more specifics, but that is the gun that was used. It was a Vepr AK, and it was a guy who owned it that we knew. Now he didn't actually sell it to the guy.
No.
He never knew. He didn't know the guy. Never met the guy. Like he sold it to someone else, and it got to
this individual.
Yeah, like it may have gone through like 4 or 5 different people before it got to this guy, but still, it was the gun. And the ATF was back tracing it to find out.
Yeah, because I believe some of his the shooter's weapons were illegally purchased.
Yeah, I haven't looked up about that. I'm not sure.
That's the last. He had a couple of he had 2 long guns and a handgun, and or at least one of them was illegally purchased.
Yeah, so, the AK I think was all he used in the shooting.
Yeah,
out of a Mustang convertible.
Didn't even get out of the car.
Yeah,
dude.
Jesus.
From what they believe that some of the Marines inside returned fire.
Yeah, they found a Beretta.
They didn't know who it belonged to, so they're assuming. I'll say this: for my recruiting days, the Army has never authorized recruiters to carry weapons. Never. Yeah. But real life, when I was out there were individuals. You're going to these people's houses in these areas. You don't know.
Yeah.
There were people that did arm themselves. Yes. Yeah. So do I believe that one of those guys, return fire? Yeah.
Yeah.
All of them are combat veterans too. So yes, I believe they return fire.
Yeah. And it's sad that they couldn't be better armed in that situation.
Yeah.
And this has happened before. This happened not that long ago. I remember this. There was one that was big in the news. I can't remember exactly where it was. But this has happened before, where soldiers have been targeted in recruiting stations.
A recruiting station? Well, there was the guy that with the Washington Naval Yard with the shotgun.
Yeah.
That guy, they got him.
Yeah.
Where else? Where else?
Yeah.
I mean, the Texas.
Fort Hood was a sad one. I mean, it's like, they're all these are sad, but it's like, especially these where you've got guys that have training.
Yeah.
Even like everyone in the military has at least enough training to know how to use a gun.
Basic weapons training, yes.
Yeah, exactly. But then on top of that, you got guys with more training,
advanced training,
that know what they're doing, and they don't have a gun.
You can't carry on the military post, which like at let's say Fort Campbell, Kentucky, wherever that is. Everybody wants to carry on post, but you cannot legally carry a personal weapon on post.
Yeah.
Because they feel like we got the MPs, we got the emergency response team. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
But everyone, because these recent incidents like this, people want to be able to carry personal weapons on post, which is a great idea.
Yeah.
If you can't trust these guys, who can you trust?
Yeah, exactly. They should be allowed to carry. At least handguns, something. You know? Because they can't issue everybody a handgun, But
no, if you want to have a permit, then yes.
Yeah.
Or
maybe make it so like there's some kind of extra certification or something, to carry on post. So it's not just anybody, absolutely anybody can.
No.
You
got the military police, and then you have the special response team that is always on alert.
Yeah, I know you can't now, but I'm saying if they were going to start allowing soldiers to carry on post and stuff like that, I mean, I get the logic of them not wanting just anybody to be able to carry, guns that, and ammo and stuff around because, there's a lot of people in the military. You could have, anybody.
And you don't know. And you don't know. A lot of guys who have places off post, they have personally owned weapons.
Yeah.
In fact, on the shooting range on Fort Campbell, Kentucky, as long as you get your weapons registered on post, you can bring your weapon on post. But you have to register it with the military police.
Yeah.
So, great shooting range up there too, by the way.
Oh yeah, I need to get up there sometime.
Again, the problem that I have is that these shooters always go to places where they know that no one else is armed. I'm like that this guy in Lafayette, Louisiana, 2 days ago that opened up in the movie theater. He shot up injured 9 people, killed 2, and then he tried to get away. But as soon as the police showed up with their ARs, he shot himself in the head.
Yeah.
Okay, tough guy. All right, whatever.
Yeah. And of course the anti-gunners, they always want to say like, oh, that's so crazy. Those crazy gun nuts are always talking about how more guns, would make things safer. But look what stops these people.
Yeah, exactly. When the people with the weapons showed up, this guy shot himself.
Yeah, but because they have uniforms, that's different.
This guy, 58-year-old male, long criminal history, a lot of other issues. They're trying to find out what was the motive behind this shooting, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah. But you don't see that in Atlanta. I gotta say that. I'm surprised it happened in the South.
Yeah, it did happen in Chattanooga, but again, it was still a gun-free area.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
And he was in a car, and
he didn't get out of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He could have sped away if someone tried to shoot at him or something.
He went to that naval. Further on that, he went to that Naval Reserve Center. I think this guy wanted to die. He had to.
Yeah.
He went to that after he shot up the recruiting station. He went to the Naval Reserve Center, and opened fire there. There's a problem or issue with a lieutenant commander in the Navy who had his personal weapon with him, which he wasn't supposed to have, and he returned fire at the shooter. And now I don't think anything's going to happen to him because it'd be foolish.
Yeah.
But because he was defending himself, that'll be his defense.
Right.
But some people said, well, there might be a problem because he shouldn't have had his personal weapon anyway when this shooting broke out.
Yeah.
Yes, he shouldn't, but
yeah. To me, that's the problem. The problem is that he shouldn't have.
Exactly.
Because he should have,
And this person went to 2 places where he knew no one else was armed.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, I don't know when we're going to be able to, when people are going to finally wake up to, like, why these shootings keep happening.
And I'll say this again. I have open carried for years. As long as you act responsibly, professionally, no one has ever had a problem.
Yeah.
No one's ever said anything to me. They've never had an issue with it. Yeah. But you have to be, again, responsible and professional. And people have to see that.
Yeah.
It's how you carry yourself in public. So.
Yeah. And I get the public outrage after these issues because, I've talked on this show a lot about different issues in the news where they seem like a bigger deal than they really are because the media just kind of focuses on something that's trending and it seems like a problem. It's really not. Mm-hmm. But there has been a ton of shootings that have happened.
True.
And like they just keep happening. It's like all the time. It's like every week or something. There's like another one. It's like what changed? You know what I mean? It's like
maybe
what changed?
Nothing's changed. Maybe it's always been that way. We're just more aware of it now.
It could be. I don't know.
I mean, I gotta think the violence that we see in America because of the 24-hour news cycle. We're just more aware of it now.
Yeah.
There've been. I mean, the last study I saw in America, shooting deaths were 26,000 in a year. It's always been that way. I have to think it's been that way for years.
Yeah.
But now we're just, because of technology, the media, social media, we're just more aware of it now.
Yeah.
I mean,
hey.
Like Florida has the largest number of carry permit holders in the United States.
Yeah. Because they were the first one to have a carry permit.
Yeah, exactly. And they have the largest number in the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, the guns aren't going away.
No.
They are not going away. That's not going to happen. That's why it's more important that people that do own weapons, again, one more time, responsible carry permit holders, responsible and professional at all times.
Yeah.
And all it takes is one nutcase.
Yeah.
And we all look stupid.
Also, one thing that a lot of people say because of all these shootings, that there's a lot of talk on the internet about like, oh, these shootings are all fake. They're not real. They're set up by the government and all this kind of stuff. Which here's the thing, right? Like obviously, like an idea like that, it just sounds crazy. it just sounds crazy. When something sounds crazy, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not true. It just means you haven't heard anything. Like, you've never seen or heard anything that makes that seem like that would be possible. So I just want to give them that benefit of the doubt, that give them that credit, at least, that just because it sounds crazy doesn't necessarily mean it is. But here's the thing about that, though. If the government was setting up all these things, like, every single one of these shootings has pushed people more towards gun rights than away from it.
Exactly.
So why would they be continuing to set these fake events up, when they're actually just pushing?
It's counterproductive from what they want.
Yeah, as gun people, that people are just getting pushed more and more into our arms.
Which was true. I just saw this thing on Channel 5. In a certain town.
Yeah.
Which every town has a Channel 5, right?
They do, yeah. It's probably something different, though, at every town.
The gun sales have skyrocketed in the Chattanooga area.
Yeah.
I mean, of course. Hell yeah. Don't be the guy without the weapon. When the shooting breaks out, don't be the guy without the weapon.
Yeah. The media makes it look like gun control is becoming a more real possibility, while meanwhile the actual public, the real people, are getting more into guns and buying more guns.
Exactly.
And that's why all this, gun control stuff, that's why it's ended up being just all talk.
Yeah.
It's because what's being reflected in the media is the opposite of what people are actually thinking and doing.
Kansas, you don't even need a permit anymore. You can just buy it and walk out store with it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Unless you, the only time Kansas requires you to have a permit, carry permit, is if you go to another state.
Yeah.
That does require it. I noticed something when I was going through Alabama recently, is that apparently open carry is fine in Alabama.
Yeah.
But the only problem that some people have with it in stores, you can't open carry in the store. You can still conceal carry, but you can't open carry.
Which, honestly, I respect that. I mean,
it should you. I mean, open carry is not always appropriate. I will say that. It's not always appropriate.
Sometimes it looks kind of, like I saw this really big old fat redneck guy. And
here we go.
He was carrying a gun, very obviously open and stuff, and just some like cheap like Phobos holster, no retention whatsoever, and it's flapping around, and he's waddling through.
Okay.
And it's like,
not the image we necessarily want.
I respect his right to be able to do that, but it's like I just don't feel good about that situation.
Exactly. I mean, you want to feel like the person with the weapon is a proficient.
Right. And maybe not even like, I'm almost more concerned with their proficiency in like carrying it and being able to
safely carry it.
Yeah, more so than being able to shoot well, but just being able to like, keep that gun secured and be aware of it and all that kind of stuff. Because I just know from I work security and stuff. Gun retention is pretty important.
Yes.
It's something you think about a lot.
It should always be on your mind. If you're carrying that weapon should always be on your mind. I have a weapon on me. That should always be in the back of your mind.
And
always.
And carrying guns in holsters that you might just carry like on the range or something out in public, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to say that people shouldn't do it, but it's just, I don't know. Like I'm talking about open carry now.
Yeah.
Like concealed carry, you don't need. I'm not going to put a retention device on a concealed carry holster. I mean, I'm just not going to do that. It's a little crazy. But as far as open carry, though, I mean that gun's out there just flopping in the wind. I mean, anybody can reach up behind you and snatch it, or
exactly. And if you're going to do that, be aware of it. Always, have on your mind. Have on your mind. I have a weapon on me, and it is not in any kind of super holster or whatever. Yeah. It is just out there. Anybody could come up behind me, and I don't know how you don't do that.
Yeah.
Hey, if I got a weapon, it's always on my mind. I have a weapon.
It's funny that this guy told me a story. Whenever I used to whenever I was getting my armed guard license, the guy who did the class. He was this ex-special forces guy. He'd been on Memphis SWAT for 10 years. Huge, built dude. I mean, he was a serious dude. Knew his stuff. And he was telling a story about how he wasn't even a cop then. This was like a few years ago when he told me this, I think. And he was in line at the bank, and he was carrying open. He had like his security stuff on, carrying open and stuff. Probably like you do all the time when you're like going to work or something. And some guy in line behind him tried to pull his gun out.
Holy dude!
Wasn't able to because he had a retention holster. But this guy I forgot what he said. He had a black belt in like 2 or 3 different martial arts. And he said he just turned around and just clocked him with the elbow and knocked him out.
Yes, you don't know.
So when the cops showed up, they were like, Nice job.
Dude, you don't know. At this place, this remain nameless. This individual who thought he was more funny than he really was.
Yeah.
Walked up, tried to eject my magazine.
Jesus.
I'm standing there talking to him, and this guy reaches over and tries to eject the magazine out of my weapon. And after I hit him, the guy's like, "What'd you do that for?" You just tried to grab my weapon, dude. What the hell?
Eject the magazine.
Exactly. And he's like, "Well, I didn't try to grab it. I just tried to eject the magazine." You tried to grab my weapon, dude. So again, you never know. And that was out of nowhere. That was just out of nowhere.
I would just love to live in a world that was so peaceful. But that would just be like a funny little silly prank that you could do to a cop.
This guy thought that he was. What was he thinking? I'm just going to reach over and grab his weapon. What the hell are you thinking? So, again, I mean, people are idiots. And back to that saying I heard, the two most abundant elements in the universe are hydrogen and stupidity.
Yeah. I think the joke would have been on him because you pulled your gun out, put in another magazine, and he's standing there holding just a magazine.
Or hey, dude, what about the one still in the chamber?
Yeah,
dude,
exactly.
Hey, you got rid of 8 of them, but there's still number 9. Right? Yeah. Oops, I forgot one.
Yeah.
So,
but hopefully though, with these mass shooting things, hopefully that we can finally get it through some of these other people's heads that we've got to allow people to carry guns in more situations. So that maybe there'll be a way that we can not put. You'll never be able to put a stop
to it. Yeah.
We'll never be able to put a stop to it. There's obviously something going on that's causing people to want to do this, and you're not going to completely stop it, but at least it could minimize the risk and the damage.
I think it would have to, because again, these people are opening up in places where they are sure that no one else is armed, but the minute they're confronted, they throw their hands up, like the shooter in Colorado.
Yeah.
That guy was he opened up in that theater, killed a whole bunch of people, but the minute police showed up, he threw his hands right up. In fact, from what I understand, he had a vehicle full of weapons.
Yeah.
Tried to get out, but the minute cops confronted him, hands flew right up.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe we need to have like an AR that's loaded around the chamber, like in one of those like fire department things, like break glass in case of emergency.
Good idea. Good idea.
Like every room that holds
break in case of emergency.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Every room that like how they have those like codes, for like a room it holds more than like 20 people or something. Like it has to have one of those in it.
That's right. No, okay, wait. It has to be like the manager's office or something like that. The manager, because you have somebody, like you got people pulling fire alarms for no reason. You have people breaking it, pulling the AR out for no reason.
Exactly.
Good idea, but we gotta limit it to like management. Or, something like that. But good idea.
Yeah. Or you could take care of the whole movie theater problem. Is the guy that's up there with the projector? He has an AR.
The projectionist, good field of fire.
Hey, that's a great job for vets.
There you go.
Look, coming back from the war, need some work.
Anybody opens up in that theater, dude, you know what to do. You know what to do. Yeah. So no, I think again, weapons. We can't. It would be great if the world everybody was logical and reasonable, but they're not.
Yeah.
We live in a world with all kinds of people. Some are more intelligent than others. Some people are mentally compromised. You just don't know.
Yeah.
And we just have to be aware of that. Not be afraid, be aware. Yeah. And getting rid of weapons is not the answer.
Because it's an impossibility.
It's an impossibility. And not everybody's going to do it. And some of the most biggest anti-gun people own guns.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of hypocritical, ain't it?
Yeah, really.
Gun control.
Like Bill Maher. He's super anti-gun, but he's like, well, all you crazy people have a gun. I'm going to have a gun. It's like, exactly.
Exactly. Exactly. Dude.
Yeah, like
so a little bit, but again at the same time, Bill Maher, great stuff. Love his jokes.
Great. Oh yeah.
But he, I think he's reasonable too.
He is. He's a really smart guy.
He's reasonable, and at the same, he knows that you can't be the guy without the weapon.
Yeah.
You can't be the guy when the BS starts. You can't be the guy that don't have one. I'm all about peace. Well, good. Bam, you're done.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's one of those things where, because there's a lot of really, really smart people out there that don't get that really. Yeah. I think it's one of those things. It's a really tricky thing because on the surface, And even on deeper levels, it does make some sense. If you think about it, like, okay, like this certain type of item is being used to cause this, very negative thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe we can't get rid of all of that item, but it makes sense that if we reduce it, then we reduce.
Yeah, that would make sense. But
the effect. But the problem is it doesn't work like other things because they only got to find one gun. It doesn't matter if there's less or it's a little harder to get them. Like all they need is one, and it still happens.
You can apply the same. You can apply the same logic to cars. Cars kill people too. So do we limit the use of cars, or who can have them, or when?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because it only takes one to do it.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
And back to that Bama story. The only thing, it wasn't that you couldn't carry a gun; you just couldn't open carry.
Yeah,
that was the only problem. People said every store I went into down there said just no open carry.
Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable.
Pull out your shirt, cover it up, come on in.
Yeah,
but you can't open carry. So.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that. I mean, I would like to think that we lived in a world where everybody could just open carry and they would be fine, and nobody cared or whatever. But it does offend people and it can hurt our cause. At times.
Yeah, so or it causes a lot of anxiety because you always got the person that maybe shouldn't have the weapon.
Yeah.
And yes, they are out there. Yes.
Oh yeah, they are.
There are people out there who should not have weapons. Yes. Yeah. And like this shooter in Tennessee. Again, everybody, it's the old story. He was a calm guy, never gave us any problem, and then until he started killing people.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Yeah.
So just keep everybody on the same sheet of music. You know what? Just pull your T-shirt out, cover it up.
Yeah. Exactly.
Not a big deal. You still got it.
Yeah.
Just cover it up.
Yeah. Which is something that like I don't think everyone should do, but I like advise people to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it just avoids. It can avoid problems.
Yeah.
Just hey, you still got your weapon, just conceal.
Yeah, I would fight for the right for people to be able to open carry, but I think it's maybe not the best idea.
You're right. Very good. Also, I gotta say this.
There's some contexts where actually it might make sense. I mean, especially if you're like. In a really like rural city, it's a rural city, like a rural town,
not a fake town, right?
Yeah. In certain contexts, I mean, if you're like at a hunting lodge and
might be okay to have an open
tractor supply store.
That's right.
I mean, there's certain contexts where it really doesn't even matter at all.
You might not want to open carry in Frederick, Hollywood. Okay, maybe not there.
Like
maybe
at the mall. Or something,
No. Not the mall.
Which I don't think you're not even allowed to do that.
No. Well, a lot of them don't say that, but you just don't do that.
Yeah.
Just no.
Because some people are still offended. Yeah.
Or they'll have anxiety attacks, or they saw a story that happened 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just to be practical. The only one that needs to know you're the only one that needs to know you have a weapon.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what it's a little bit like. It's like okay, you take some guy that is a black belt in. Whatever, karate or something. Like he still looks like a regular guy. You don't know. You have no idea.
He's not going to advertise that.
Yeah, but if for some reason there was like he just like wore his belt or something,
a T-shirt, black belt.
Yeah, exactly. It might in the same way. People might be a little kind of like, ooh, is that guy like? Is he a problem or?
Exactly. Yep. If you're a black belt, you don't want nobody to know that. You're just okay. I'm just a guy. Hey,
yeah. Because people might single you out.
Exactly. Also, I think one thing that will keep the peace is that it's how you carry yourself.
Yeah.
If you can conceal carry, but you're gonna have that demeanor about you, that bearing. You should anyway. Hopefully you're responsible, level-headed, reasonable person, even-tempered. If you're gonna carry a weapon, you better be that.
Yeah.
And people will see that, and they may even suspect, is that guy carrying? And if he is. Look the way he's carrying himself. This is a guy. I'm not worried about that guy.
Right.
I'm not having anxiety. What's he gonna do? Because we all seen those other people. Like I had this individual at this company that should remain nameless. He always had his hand on his weapon. I mean, whenever he talked to you, his hand was on his weapon. Hey, dude, do me a favor. Stop palming your weapon if you don't mind.
Yeah.
He got your attention.
Yeah.
I can understand maybe a mannerism, but his hand was always on his weapon.
Yeah.
Always on, dude.
Yeah, no.
No, stop.
Yeah. I used to, sometimes when I would stand just because it was comfortable, I would hook my thumb.
Yeah.
Like, hook my thumb on it, but not like clutching it. Like.
Yeah, exactly. This guy was like ready to draw it all. I mean, dude. You're creeping people out.
Yeah.
Hey. And the minute one of these guys, or if he has a temper issue.
Yeah.
and you're armed, okay, that is a no-go right there, dude.
Yeah.
You cannot have a violent temper or a short fuse and carry a weapon. No.
Which that reminds me, I saw this YouTube video, a little clip where there was a firearms trainer, and you know, I'm opening myself up to a lot of criticism right now because here I am, someone that has never even taken any training. I'm about to,
Okay.
and I'm about to talk bad about something that a trainer said, but I heard him talking about how it's not necessarily bad to have your finger on the trigger if you have a gun pointed at someone. He was talking about how, like, if you're trained and you know what you're doing, your experience, it's okay. You don't necessarily have to, but if you're not comfortable with it, put your finger straight. I was thinking,
last
like,
words. Yeah, famous last words.
Yeah, I don't care how good you are.
You still screw up.
Yeah, I don't care.
Personally, finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot.
Yeah.
Finger off. You can have a weapon all day. It will not go off unless your finger's on that trigger.
Exactly.
So,
it's a very quick move to get your finger from outside to inside the trigger guard and pull that trigger. It's instantaneous almost. To me, there's not ever a situation where you would ever want to put your finger on the trigger in a tactical situation.
Yeah.
If you already got the gun pointed down range, you're on a range.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
But,
it's a safe direction. They're at a range. Yeah.
Yeah. Who cares? But but a tactical situation, you pull your gun out. If that finger goes inside the trigger guard, it's to shoot it.
Yeah. Other than that, keep it out. Keep it out of there. You're asking for trouble. Accidents happen all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. So no, I don't. I mean, whatever you're comfortable with, but no, especially if you carry what's that weapon, a Glock, that don't have that does not have external safety. Yeah. Keep your weapon, your finger off that trigger. Keep your finger off that.
That really surprised me to hear like a seemingly experienced trainer say that. I don't know.
Maybe if you had a weapon like a 1911, two safeties, okay, maybe. Yeah. Even then, I'll be kind of iffy about doing it.
Because you can easily have a brain fart. And of course, you know, the people in his class, they had rifles. You know? So, I mean, okay, you got the safety on, and still, though, it'd be so easy to have a brain fart and just, I don't know. I don't know.
It's just, no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it personally, no.
Yeah. I don't like it.
It's I think only because I carry the weapon I do. That's the only reason I carry one in the chamber, because I carry a 1911. That's the only reason I have one in the chamber.
Yeah.
Position 3, ready to go.
Yeah.
But I still have to take that thumb safety off.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
But if I carry another weapon from this Eastern European country, I'd have to go empty chamber. Just me though. That's just me.
Just carry it in your holster with a slide lock.
That's right.
You just pull it out and hit the slide lock.
Oh, I don't know. The Israelis don't carry one in the chamber either. I don't know. I think they got a little bit of experience.
Yeah. No, it seems like somebody said that was like that was not true or something. I don't know. Maybe they used to or something, and they don't now, or I'm not sure.
As far as I know, I'm not an authority.
Yeah, because I always heard that too.
Israeli style shooting from the appendix position. Part of the reason they carry it is that when they pull up and then present the weapon, they pull the slide back at the same time, chambering around, then fire.
Yeah.
If that's not true, I don't know.
Yeah.
Everything I've seen and read, they don't carry one in the chamber as a safety issue.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. But
I'm sure there's somebody out there who knows.
Yeah. Well, that's what's funny. Like on the internet, you know, when you make a statement, you know, there will always be somebody that comes out of the woodwork, you know, to tell you that you're wrong. And it's funny because, like, you know, from the perspective of the content creator, you're just like, Jesus, everybody's a know-it-all. You know? You know, what the hell? But in reality, though, it's not always people just being trolls. I mean, you got to, the thing that I have to remind myself of is, like, there's a lot of people watching these things. And of that crowd, there's probably someone who's an expert on everything that I've talked about.
Well, okay, when the guy from the Israeli Defense Force in Tel Aviv calls us up and says, hey, this is what we do. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe you. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But until then, okay, which I'm sure somebody's making a comment right now.
Yep, probably.
In Jerusalem, hey, look at this is the way we do it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right.
There's a link to pictures.
Okay. All right. I guess we were wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm open-minded.
Yeah. That's what I don't always do a good job of this, but I try to remember not to say anything with too much certainty.
That's right. You're right.
Because I'm only one person. I can't possibly know everything.
This is an opinion. This is in my opinion, in our opinion. Okay.
Yeah.
If you got a better one, bring it on.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
And I like it, actually. I like to hear feedback when people are like, well, no, actually, it was this, or that thing you were trying to say was this, or whatever.
Yeah.
I like that. I don't mind that.
Good idea, dude. Hey.
Yeah.
This ain't some web podcast where it is this way, carved in stone. I came down from Mount Sinai, and this is
Alex Jones. No. Sorry, I had a cough.
Okay, so.
I don't know if you were talking about him or not. Definitely, that's Alex Jones.
But we're open-minded here. You know, if you got a better idea, hey, let's hear it. Hey, so.
Yeah. Okay. Before we wrap up, though, one more thing I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
So this guy, I was gonna run the YouTube video, but we don't have to do that. People can watch it. But there's a guy. There's a gun shop, Florida Gun Supply, where they basically said that they weren't going to allow Muslims in their store anymore.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Now there's a video. I encourage everyone listening to this. Go watch the video if you haven't already seen it. Just go. They have a YouTube channel. It's just called Florida Gun Supply, and it's called. I can't remember what it's called now, but it's the only one that has like a lot of views, and it says like original. Actually, let me see. Maybe I can pull it up real quick just see what it's called. Yeah, it's called original in parentheses Florida Gun Supplies Muslim Free Zone, and that's the name of the video. And he goes through the video. It's 5 minutes, and he kind of goes through a bunch of different things that have happened and stuff like this. The Confederate flag is a big theme of it, and all this. And I know there's people listening that probably agree with everything that he said, but here's the problem. He makes a very, very big contradiction, I think, is he talks about how, the media and the government, they're trying to divide us, and all this kind of stuff, but yet he's not going to allow Muslims in his store. Like, that is like one of the biggest contradictions I've ever heard in my life, If you're really about unity, prove it.
Yeah.
And that really makes us look bad. It just really does. He seems like a really smart guy, and he's, I get where he's coming from. I get it, but that's just not good. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't go anywhere. I hate to use the term progressive because it's been hijacked by communists, basically. But that is not a moving forward concept to ban someone based on their religion from your store.
Good. That's not good. That's not what we're supposed to be about here in America.
Yeah.
You got good and bad people everywhere, you should, if you're gonna be that way, we have to judge. If we're gonna judge, it has to be individually,
right?
Based on their behavior and the content of their character. Where have I heard that before?
Yeah, someone important said that.
Yeah, somebody said that. But anyway, it's not good. I don't think it's a good thing.
It's a very gross generalization.
Exactly, and if we're gonna be better than the people who are against what we're talking about, we can't be at that level.
Yeah,
can't, because it doesn't reflect well.
Right. It's true. We've been attacked by people who are of the Muslim faith, but we've also been attacked by people who are white, or they are black, or they are Hispanic, or they are men, or they have red hair, or what?
You don't know.
Like, what are we gonna just
Timothy McVeigh?
Yeah, whatever group that they associate with, or not that we associate them with, we're just gonna assume they're all bad or something.
We can't do that. Again, a generalization. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
You have to take people individually. You cannot do that. Not if you're gonna be fair. Not if you're gonna do the right thing the right way. Patriots, they come in all colors and sizes, dude. So.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you. I've served with all in Iraq. I'll say this. I saw an article in Time magazine. It was called The American Empire. And I heard this guy talk about patriots, and this reminded me of it for some reason. When I was in Iraq, you realize how many different kinds of people and places that make up the United States. I was sitting at the place called Anaconda, in Balad, Iraq.
Were there anacondas there?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it was too dry. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But there were the regular Army, National Guard, reserves. There were people there from every state in the Union. The regular Army plus National Guardsmen from every state in the Union, to include Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, Guam, American Samoa, Hawaii. I mean, you realize how many different places and people make up the United States, and that's a we can't generalize because not in America.
Yeah,
not in America.
And getting to the whole religion thing, most religions, you go back through history, are responsible for some pretty messed up stuff.
Crusades. Oops.
Did
I say that?
Yeah, exactly. So it's crazy.
Because that's what the bad guys are doing over in the Middle East. The one term they had for Americans in Iraq was crusader.
Yeah.
Because remembering that little Christian thing about 700-800 years ago, hey. So they do the same thing that we're doing here, which is the guy in Florida, that's the same thing that the bad guys are doing in the Middle East. They're saying the same thing. Them by God Christians, they're this, they're that, they're this, they're that. So.
Yeah. And the thing is too, like, I hate to be this guy, but how are they supposed to feel over there? We've got a ton of bases over there, and we're all over the place. We're in their country.
The extremists feel like, in their minds, it is a cosmic struggle for their religion to survive because the Crusaders are going to come there and wipe out, convert them all to Christianity and no more, free the women and do all this liberal stuff.
And it's the ultimate irony because what do you hear of all these Americans, Sharia law is coming to the United States and all this kind of stuff. We've got soldiers over there.
That's right.
Like we have... The military is over there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like just because a couple of their civilians moved over here, like we're worried about like our culture being taken over.
Which I don't think is going to happen.
Like we're taking their culture over by force over there with guns and tanks.
ISIS is what we need to worry about. They're the real threat.
Yeah.
They're the real thing. They're the real threat. And they're getting smarter because they use social media and they're modern about how they get people to come over here. And I believe this guy, the shooter in Chattanooga was motivated by ISIS. Though he spent some time in Jordan. Yeah. But I don't know if he was. They're trying to find out if he was motivated by ISIS to do what he did.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. That was a big controversy too. Is that like the president wasn't saying that it was terrorism or whatever, but yet the guy was in Jordan.
It's been a year.
Like, it's kind of like
which I don't understand. People that he wasn't born here, but he was raised and educated here, had friends and family here, and then you know what? Screw the whole country. What are you doing? Your people, your friends, your family are here. What do you? I don't understand that.
And here's one thing that has always kind of confused me about the whole like terrorism thing. I get why people would be upset over there in the Middle East because of what we've done over there, just coming into their backyard and all this stuff. For reasons that 5-hour conversation getting into even just all that.
Here we go.
So I get it. I get why they would be upset. But it seems like to me that they would be better off getting out information versus, doing violence against us that the government can easily use to further its own causes, and it doesn't really accomplish anything.
Exactly.
That's what's always confused me about terrorism.
The way you convince people, the way you change their minds, where you convert them is by your example.
Yeah.
I know what you're thinking, I know what you heard, but no, this is the way I am.
Yeah. I mean, ISIS, for example, they're so mad in America. They have access to social media and all this kind of stuff. Why are they doing all this violence? Why aren't they, coming up with creative ways to explain to American citizens what the problem is?
Yeah, or to make things better instead of beheading people.
Yeah.
Burying infidels, apostates in their holes of doom. How about making things better for the people that you're trying to take over? I mean, that might
exactly
work better than the beheadings. I don't know.
So it kind of makes you wonder, like, what's really going on with that? It's like, what's their real agenda? Is it just mayhem? Is that it? I don't know.
From what they say, they want to establish a caliphate, which is a Muslim empire, Muslim kingdom under Sharia law, which is very strict. Which ain't necessarily going to happen. Not in the 21st century.
No.
No.
That's done.
I mean, even finally, I think, and someone else said this, the countries there are saying, you know what, these people are crazy. In fact,
Yeah.
Al Qaeda said, you know, those guys in ISIS are nuts.
Yeah.
So if they're saying that, they're a real threat.
This whole idea of a society that's highly controlled, like intensely conservative
Yeah.
and rigid, and that's done.
That's
That's
not
just
gonna happen.
done. There's too much information. The internet
Yeah.
is out. The cat's out of the bag. That's not going to happen again.
No, people are too informed. There's we're past that.
Yeah.
People are too informed. Like you said, there's too much access to information and the way other people live. How maybe people live better in other places. You know, why can't I live like that? Why can't I have running water?
Yeah.
Why can't I drive a car? You know,
Yeah.
why come only he can? You know,
Yeah. Exactly.
people just aren't going to necessarily tolerate
Yeah.
what used to be.
Yeah. How come only Americans get to get cancer from fast food?
That's right. That's unfair. Where's my chance at ovarian cancer? My God,
Yeah.
my chance.
Yeah.
Jesus, that's unfair. I demand it.
Yeah. I demand crappy American food.
That's right. Yeah. Come on. Why can't we be fat like them?
Yeah.
Come on. Why am I thin? That's another case. Be careful what you ask for. You might get it.
Oh, yeah. That's for sure.
Again, Iraq, get there. The village is like first century Israel. And then a year later, there's a Burger King right there. Well, okay. You asked for it. Yeah, you got it. You got it now.
What if the whole, like, the whole Jesus thing, what if that happened in modern times?
Oh, my God.
You know,
He'd have
Like,
a Facebook account.
yeah, he'd have like a,
He'd have a Facebook
he'd have like a Twitter and
That's right. I saw Family Guy. Jesus came on Family Guy. He says, so JC, what have you been doing the past 2,000 years? Well, I've been playing Call of Duty. I'm like, why not? Why not? Why not?
oh man,
He thought, what's that deal? He's at the party. And, hey, JC, we're out of wine. Okay, normally I don't do this, but okay, keep it going. Okay, I'm going to stop.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I got one more. There's this there's a show that I used to like. It only made it for one season, which makes sense, but it was still funny. It was called Trip Tank. It was this crazy, like, it was kind of like that show. What's it called? Trigger Happy TV. Did you ever see that?
No, I heard of
it was like kind of a prank show, but it was like a bunch of quick clips of things or whatever. It's sort of that concept, but it was like a bunch of quick little skits, but they were like cartoons. And there's this one where it was like the Last Supper, and they were all sitting around, you know. And Jesus is there, and he's like making wine for everybody, you know? And he accidentally hits the guy's hand instead of his glass, and it turns all of the water in his body into wine.
Oh, wow.
And he dies like horrifically of wine. I was like, that is messed up.
Wait. I gotta say it. Best scene though. Well, best thing on that was History of the World Part 1.
Oh man, yeah. Mel Brooks. Yeah.
Mel Brooks was the waiter at the Last Supper.
He's like, Jesus, and he's like, yes.
Jesus. Yeah, yes. I'm not talking to you. Jesus. What?
Oh man. Mel Brooks was great.
Oh God.
He had a great mind.
You couldn't make that movie today. You could. They'd be like, what?
Nah, people take all that way too serious.
Oh my God.
I've been thinking about that some lately too. I think a lot of it is just because maybe that's one of the downsides of the internet. I don't know, but everything is like so extreme now. Like people feel like they got to take extreme stances on things. Or people were before they were happy with their religion and going to church and their community, and they were fine with that.
A personal thing. Yeah.
But now because this other guy does this, that's like, you know about this guy who does these people that do the opposite thing than you, then now you've got to be like more intense about your thing, and like everybody is more intense about their thing now because it's like
the internet gives you a voice.
Yeah,
It gives you a voice,
which is a good thing.
It's good, but you can't go crazy now.
Yeah, but some people have not necessarily used it in the right way, and they've let it. it kind of gives them an unrealistic perception of reality to it in a lot of ways.
Unfortunately, the internet's like anything; it's good and bad. It can get a lot of good information out there. Everybody has access, which is great, but also it can be a haven for disgruntled nutcases, people with an axe to grind.
What's crazy is the internet. It kind of almost behaves like a brain in a way. It really does. And you think about it.
The internet's really Skynet.
Yeah.
Thank you for getting that reference. We only think we're controlling it. No, it's controlling
That's
it.
right. Well, I mean, it gets complicated.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that. It gets complicated.
All right.
All right. Before we close, though, we'll close on a more happy note, I guess. You got
something upbeat.
Yeah, you got to talk about your parasailing and the sharks.
Okay. All right. Recently, took some time off. Thank God, and I decided to get adventurous, and I took somebody parasailing in the Gulf. All I got to say is that I don't understand what people think they're signing up for when they go parasailing. Yes, you're under this piece of canopy, this nylon chute, 500 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
So we're on the boat. Number one, it's the ocean. I think we forget that.
Yeah.
I'm sitting
big.
I'm sitting up on the bank, and about 300 yards away out in the water, I see this big fin going away, going across the water. And I'm like, in hindsight, I thought, I'm 300 yards away, and that thing looked huge.
Yeah.
How big is this thing close up? You
Yeah.
know? But hey, it was like I did the classic tourist thing. Oh, look, it's some kind of marine animal floating around out there. Of course they're tame. Of course they're calm. No, probably would rip my hand off if I got the chance. So we get down there, we get on the boat. We're going out there, and people ask all the dumb tourist questions. Like, is this boat ever sunk? I went, only once. Only once. And we're out there again. They take you way out there. We're about 2-3 miles off the coast. Right?
Yeah.
And
can you still see the coastline?
You can still see it, but everybody's like, well, what happens if we go down? I'm like, well, you'll probably drown. I'm like, well, what's with these people?
Yeah.
And another lady said, what if something happens while we're up there? We're 500 feet off the ground. I'm like, no problem. You'll be dead. What do you expect, lady? Come on. Yeah. I turned this whole crowd with, what did you sign up for?
Yeah.
What did you think we were going to be doing? So we're out there, and she's like, well, this water looks pretty deep. Yes, it's the ocean. What do you think? So we finally go up. And we're sitting up there. They haul you up on the chute. You're 500 feet above the water. And I'm like, it's calm and peaceful. And this person turns to me and says, this is just like being an Army paratrooper. I went, no, it's not. Number one, you can't see stuff. It's broad daylight, number one. 2, we ain't got 80 pounds of crap hanging off of us.
Yeah.
And 3,
no weapons.
when we come down, we're not going to hit the ground like a sack of crap. So, no, I don't think so. Okay. And then this individual looked down and says, what would happen? What do you think would happen if we fell? Like I said, number one, we'd probably be dead. And it ain't the fall that kills you, it's the sudden stop. So, no problem. I said, well, you think the fall would kill us? Well, maybe not. But then, if we survive, I think the sharks will finish us off before we, would drown us or, just rip us apart. No problem. Don't worry about it. So, last thing was, we're on the boat, and they know people are nervous. People are having anxiety issues. So the crew's trying to go, pep everybody up. They got these 2 people up there, at altitude. And they're like, okay, we're going to lower them down. We're going to dunk them in the water, right? All right. And the guys on the megaphone, rah, yeah, we're going to dump them. Everybody like, yeah. And these people up there are like, no. And they're lowering them down. And the guys on the megaphone again, yeah, dunk them. And the people on the boat, yeah. The people on the chute are like, no. And they're pointing at something. Right?
Yeah.
So they take them down, splash them, pull them back up. Splash them, pull them back up. And everybody's like, yeah. So they haul them back on the boat. And these people are dripping wet going, sharks right there.
Oh, man. How would they have felt if they had died?
I thought like there were 3 sharks right there. So, what was that?
Okay. That was the Okay, they couldn't hear that. That was a computer.
Okay, all right. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, the battery's gone.
Okay, all right, cool. But dude, great trip. I advise everybody should do it.
Yeah.
If you see sharks, be sure to tell. and I gotta say that sharks are a lot more intimidating when they're like 10 feet from you.
And don't try to save someone if they're being attacked by a shark.
That's right.
Oh yeah, because I told you this earlier. Because the problem is trying to save someone from a shark attack would be about as efficient as a shark trying to save a person or trying to save another shark from being beaten up by a person on land.
Okay, let me say this. I gotta say this. If I saw a shark, someone being attacked by a shark, I'm pretty sure it would never enter my mind to jump in the water with them.
No.
I'm like, dude, maybe I'd lean over, but hey, can you reach my hand? But other than that,
you throw them like a tube and the shark bites it. It's like, oh.
But I can't imagine jumping in the water with them. No. Nah, dude, you're done, man. Dude, it's over.
I hear M1 Garands are great for taking out sharks. Though.
Oh, yeah. I seen that somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah. You got to throw them in an air tank first.
Good idea.
They should have those at beaches.
Yeah.
They should have like little air tanks. And they've got like, a bunch of like blood and stuff on them. So they're like real tasty, That's and right. Then like an M1 Garand inside in the case of some glass.
Yeah. Lifeguard up in the tire with it.
In case of shark attack, break glass, throw it out there. Shark bites it, shoot it with the ground.
Dude, over.
It works. It works every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
Both like 2 movies works every time.
Yeah, you can't beat it.
But the second one he did the same thing as the second one, didn't he?
I think so. Something it blew
twice.
up. Oh no, that was when they shocked it, right?
Oh yeah. You got the cable out of nowhere.
Yeah. Or was that the first one? Because that was a movie where they tease you. You think the shark is dead, and there's another one. It's like that's like just the kid or something.
The first one they used the air tank blew him up.
Yeah.
And he said that. Of course, he said the famous line, "Smile," and then blasted him. Right. Now, how did he not get killed? But I don't know. All right.
Yeah. Maybe. It was I don't know. It could have been some shrapnel from the tank. Definitely.
Who knows? But then on the second one, that's when the mysterious cable in the middle of the ocean for some reason is laying there with 5 billion volts going through it. And the shark just walks up and he puts it in the shark's mouth and he bites it. Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, by the way, we're gonna do that thing where we critique movies.
Oh yeah, we need to do that at some point.
We gotta do that. Come on. I'll set you an example. We gotta do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we do need to do that. Well, maybe we'll do that because I haven't done another one of those minisodes. Well, maybe we'll do that. They'll take the place of the minisodes or something.
Cool. Well, we can. It ain't gotta be that long.
Because you can show movies. We could just pick out certain parts of the movie and show those,
and point out things that maybe should be obvious to anyone that don't work that way.
Yeah, because you can. There's that falls under fair use if you're you can't just like show a movie and just like here enjoy this movie, but you can show parts of movies and stuff. If it's in the context of like demonstrating something, like if you're talking about it or whatever. I think music is the same way.
Oh, well, just don't have any copyright infringement here. Oh my God! Oh my God!
All right. Well, the battery's about to die, and I think we probably talked the ears off.
That's all right. Sure enough.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
We'll do it soon again.
See ya.